Good evening everyone, welcome to an update video for the 20th of November 2023. I do not make enough update videos. Some of you would probably argue that I don't make enough videos in general, so with that taken into consideration, I guess I record an appropriate number of update videos proportional to the amount of regular videos that I make. If I were making more update videos but not more regular videos, I don't think that would please many people at all. We are back in Morrowind. This is the game that I have decided to play for pretty much all of my... Why is my cursor on the screen? Stop that. It's ridiculous. I don't know if you saw that. I'm sure it did appear for you, but my cursor for some reason didn't want to leave the screen. I don't know what caused that, and it did actually displease me because I thought that that was going to be something that I wouldn't be able to solve. Which would have just been a lovely start to the recording. Not unusual, of course, but definitely a frustrating start. I just spotted a cliff racer. I don't know why I was about to add a T in that name. There is no T in cliff racer. You stay precisely where you are, sir. I did actually miss him, though. He's a feisty little shit. There we go. This is the most satisfying way to dispatch a cliff racer, and I will tell you why. It's because if you are melee only, you have no ranged magic, you have no ability to use a bow or a crossbow, you just have to wait until they're within range. And usually, well, it does occasionally happen that they are slightly out of your range and you actually have to jump up to hit them, so it is very satisfying to not only be able to instigate the confrontation, but to be able to kill them with several bolts/arrows before they can even reach you and hit you. It's a very cathartic activity, and the reason why is because those of you who are familiar with Morrowind are probably quite rightly hateful. You are filled with vindictive emotion when it comes to cliff races, so there you go. Hey Simply Rome, good to see you. I'm going to be drinking beer out of a wine glass during this update video because I have problems. It's not because I have problems, there is a reason why. I am so sorry to say that I'm drinking Han Super Dry. I've never had Han Super Dry before, I just was struck by inspiration. Where it came from, I don't know. This is a screw top, and I just used a bottle opener for it. Whatever, I saved my hands from being abraded by the surface of this bottle top, which I'm sure my hand appreciates. And I also simultaneously appreciate that my hand appreciates that. Really informative, thank you, Doomlink. I want to see just how bad this beer is. It was almost purchased out of protest because my local bottle shop has stopped selling the Sheaf Stout, which is a nice stout. Used to be able to get it in 750ml bottles there. Relatively cheaply as well, about $7.50 for 750ml. Perfectly agreeable, and more than that, very satisfactory. So I'm very displeased that I can no longer get that, so I protested and bought what is presumably a shit beer. Like I said, never had it before, let's find out. I'm actually slightly afraid. Wow. Yeah, when they say super dry, they mean super dry, and I actually don't mind it. Like, it's unoffensive to the palate, and what I would say genuinely is that it doesn't have much going for it, but it also doesn't have anything going against it. It's just an extremely dry beer that's, I guess, crisp and, yeah, unoffensive. That is probably the best way I can review this very average beer. The company, having been established in 1987, which in beer company years, or just alcoholic beverage company years, is practically a newborn child. An infant. But, yeah, look, I don't have any particular complaints. It's low carb, apparently. I can't complain about that. Get healthy with Doomlink and drink beer. Apparently, Simply Rome, whilst watching this update video live, is watching my Return to Lochlac VOD on his other phone? Other phone. So you're using one phone to watch this live, and then using another phone, why you have two phones I couldn't imagine, to watch a VOD simultaneously. Wow. Talk about being overloaded with entertainment. That's not to suggest that I am particularly entertaining, it's just to say that, you know, I do make these in an attempt to provide entertainment, and so presumably that is what he is getting out of watching those. So, yeah, I would be... what's the best way to describe it? I would be overstimulated if I had to... Oh, fuck off. You see, if you're not paying attention to the sound of the combat music playing, these bastards really take you by surprise. What is that? There's some sort of graphical glitch. It must be because I'm staring up in the air and maybe my pauldrons are clipping into my field of vision. That's the best way that I can possibly describe what just happened there. I'm sure you saw the minor graphical glitches there. But anyway, one thing I will say is that I'm sitting very far away from my monitor, so I can't quite see the map. The map is pretty small even if you're close to your monitor, and like I say, I'm not close to it, so I can only barely see where I'm going. I can roughly see there is uncharted territory in this direction. Well, it is charted, actually. You could not possibly refer to this as uncharted, because it is literally there. It is charted. But, I suppose I personally have yet to traverse it, that's what we'll say. Han super dry. Han super mediocre. But do you know what? It's also Han super unoffensive. Oh, leave me alone. For those of you who haven't played Morrowind and perhaps were not able to identify with the way in which I characterized cliff races at the start of this recording, hopefully it is now abundantly clear that these things are annoying. Ugh. And I swear I saw another little fucker flying around out that way. You get over here. Because at least when they're flying towards you, they are on a consistent trajectory, and apparently I still cannot make use of that adequately to kill them. Alright. Now, what is going to be the subject of the update video today? I'll get to the meat of the discussion first. And that is that I, very soon, will be moving home once again. For those of you who have been watching me for a long time, it may not feel like it was that long ago when I last moved house. But it sort of was. It was almost 2 years ago. And there's a fairly good reason why I'm moving home again. It's to actually move in with my girlfriend. And we've got a nice place lined up. I'm very much looking forward to it. I will probably be able to conjure up an even better setup than what I've got now once I'm in that place. And I'm genuinely looking forward to it. It's ironically back in the neighborhood that I left originally. And she's actually from that part of Sydney as well, so... And we didn't actually meet anywhere near there. We met quite far away from there, but we both grew up in the same area, and that's where she works, and so I've now sort of moved work. Like, I've moved my job in that area as well, or rather, I am to be moving jobs into that area, and I've sort of timed it so perfectly that literally my last day where I am now is actually going to coincide precisely with the signing of that lease. So, pretty much couldn't time it better than that. So that's going to be my little journey going into the near future. I don't think at the end of the day it's going to terribly impact, or very noticeably impact, your viewing experience. There's two reasons for this. The first is that, and do excuse that, that was an autosave. The game tends to choke when it autosaves, probably because of some bad setup on my part. I think it's running off a slow hard disk drive, something like that. That would probably be the explanation. But yeah, there are two reasons why you may not actually feel that. The first is that I don't upload extremely frequently these days. That is not a permanent frequency of uploading for this channel. I don't want you to think that it's just going to progressively get less and less frequent. Like anything creative, it has to be said that there are, it ebbs and flows. There are peaks and troughs when it comes to the frequency of a person being able to creatively express themselves. You have to understand that what I'm doing is a hobby. It's not a profession. I don't do it for money. I do get a little bit of money thanks to the contributions that you guys make to Twitch, which I am enormously grateful for. And to me, it is a form of recognition that what you get out of my live streams is positive and entertaining and something that you want to then turn into a contribution to me. And again, I am very grateful for that. But of course, I don't make videos for that reason. I don't do live streams for that reason. And so it becomes something that can only happen when I'm in the right frame of mind, or I'm in the right mood, or when I don't have to sacrifice something that's literally more important than that to sit down and record. You know, I don't make sacrifices to sit down and record, which is why, you know, I don't often have a 3-day recording streak or a 4-day recording streak. In a way, I hope that people will learn to appreciate what I actually upload. You know, if it's 1 upload a week, they'll be able to appreciate that more in a sense than if I were to just overload them with entertainment. I do understand that for some content creators, it's very important for them to almost be the main source of entertainment for their viewers. But it's also a very dangerous and precarious position to put yourself in. If you actually position yourself as the main source of entertainment for your viewers, it just means that that's going to be the reason why they keep coming back. If they instead keep coming back for, you know, the treat, I don't want to call it treat as far as, you know, the quality of my content, but a treat in the sense that it's not a common occurrence. Or, you know, it's frequent enough that it'll be once a week, but not an extremely common occurrence that you're going to see a new upload from me. I want that to be what brings people here, you know, something that's worth watching every now and again when it comes. And those of you who have stuck around, I very much appreciate that. But I also reiterate the fact that it's not always going to be like that. There will be periods of time where I upload fairly frequently. But, yeah, so, again, because I don't upload extremely frequently, you're not going to see a huge change in my uploading schedule as a result of this move, at least hopefully not. The second reason why you probably won't notice it quite as much is because I'm able to record the PC. Like, what I'm recording here is my PC. There was a time in the past when recording PC was a bit awkward, not the easiest thing for me to do. At the very least, not the easiest thing to do while maintaining the standard that I like to maintain for my recordings. So that usually is in reference to the webcam view. Previously I would have things like lighting issues, and yeah, there were lots of reasons that would ultimately combine to create an unfavorable situation when recording on PC. Those days are over now. So what that means is that literally all I need is my PC setup and I'm able to record videos. I don't need my console setup. And there's a, what the fuck, I must be getting yeah, I'm being surrounded by many people. And when I say people, I have misspoken because not a single person is actually here attacking me right now. Yeah, it must be the way I'm moving while I have my crossbow out and am shooting my crossbow. That must be what's going on. Anyway. Oh, thank you very much, Potato. This is Morrowind, Elder Scrolls 3. The reason why I don't actually have the game listed here is because I don't want to attract people who want to see Morrowind content to this live stream, because I'm not really talking about the game. I am playing the game, but the subject matter is really for people who know me and watch my videos, so. Nagakuka wants me to move in with him. That's not going to be happening because he's very far away, and I am also not in a romantic relationship with him. And that's very beneficial, I think, for everyone involved. The game's frozen. Thank you for letting me know. I did actually have to make an edit here because I realized that while I'm recording, it's actually not able to capture continuous video. We have gone back to the days of I don't know, the 90s internet, where you just have to go frame by frame and then upload it to someone. It's lovely. So yeah, what I was discussing was the fact that not only am I recording somewhat infrequently, so you're not going to see a huge difference in uploading, it's also going to be a case of me being able to record more easily. There are more games that I'm playing on PC now than I used to. And I suppose really the only thing that would happen as a result of me not being able to record for, let's say, 2 weeks, 3 weeks on consoles is you're not going to see any consoles. I've had to pack away all my consoles. In fact, the entire reason why I am recording while drinking out of a wine glass, despite the fact that this is beer in the glass, is because I've packed away all my glasses as well. So there's been a lot of packing going on. It's a progressive move. I wouldn't expect videos to stop entirely just yet. I'll probably try to record again, I would say on Wednesday, which is, it's currently Monday, so there's your point of reference. It's Monday evening currently, so this time in 48 hours, presumably, I will actually be recording something, presumably Doomlink's Live Hunts. And yeah, it's probably going to continue that way for a few more days, and then I will no longer be able to record because my PC setup will be dismantled, and yeah, I will be relocating, of course. I don't think the setup process is going to take very long. Those of you who remember when I originally moved, moved for the first time while I was, here recording videos, I really did have to revamp my setup. I had to get a whole host of furniture items for my new setup, basically. And I still have all of those, and so really it's just a matter of relocation this time, rather than having to get a whole new setup. So that's a beneficial thing. I suppose another point that I will make is that I suppose I have already touched on it though, haven't I? I was going to talk about why I haven't been recording as frequently. I suppose the reason is because I do obviously have other things that I've been prioritizing in my life recently, but in addition to that, I'm not getting quite as much enjoyment out of recording Monster Hunter anymore, and the only reason why is because I haven't been interspersing it with other games. Once I properly have the discipline established to just occasionally record different games, that's going to keep Monster Hunter new and interesting for me. That's about all I need. I just haven't been disciplined when it comes to that, so I do apologize. There's also, like, the dwindling console-related content, I suppose, is because it takes longer to set that up, and the actual amount of time that it takes to set that up versus the much lower viewership that I get for those videos, it actually serves as a huge disincentive. It's quite funny. If it were just less views, I actually would not care at all. But to what would otherwise take 5 minutes to set up, instead takes 15 minutes to set up, and that extra 10 minutes is kind of annoying when you're working with limited time in which to record anyway. So yeah, it's kind of hard to go through that extra effort when you know that there's going to be less return as a result. Like I said, it's not like it's a monetary thing. I'm not getting money out of people's views on VODs or people's interaction, like just the mere fact that they are there watching live while I'm on Twitch. That doesn't immediately translate into money or anything like that. It's just that the main reason why I do this is for engagement, so that I can provide entertainment to people. So if less people are entertained by me doing that, then I am going to feel less inclined to do it. At the end of the day, the only reason why I do it is for my own personal enjoyment. And while you would think that it's just about personal enjoyment, it's not at the end of the day. Because if you can enjoy something and then get additional things out of it, you tend to go for the thing that you get the benefits from, whilst also enjoying it, rather than just, the basic, I'm just doing this for fun. It doesn't completely preclude the recording of console games. It just means that it's going to be less frequent, and that would be the reason why it has been less frequent recently. Well, do you know what? There may actually be a Bob the Builder next time I move. You can never know. I've been very lucky with my neighbours in this apartment that I'm in currently. They've all been excellent. As well as that, this fucking apartment is built like a bomb shelter. It's just not literally, but what I mean is that it's very solidly built. It's very well isolated sound-wise, so you don't hear the neighbors at all. And I can also blast my heavy metal music and no one cares because you can't hear it. Unless I really crank it, but no one's ever said anything. I don't know how things are going to be. Like, every time you move house, it's always going to be a slightly different experience. You can't quite anticipate how things are going to be, but I have a positive outlook on it. But of course, the days of Bob the Builder are becoming even more distant, aren't they? Because that was where I previously was, and now where I am currently is going to be a thing of the past as well. Will I have a new Bob the Builder? We'll find out. Hopefully not. Maybe my neighbors like my music. Unlikely. Possible, but unlikely. I also don't play it very frequently either. I should take the time to discuss some of the series that I am working on. There was actually a time when I wanted to do like a 10th of October, like the 10th of the 10th update series, but that never actually happened. I only did it once ever, and then I said to myself, I have to do this every year. Well, it never did happen, so that's fine. I mean, it's sort of close to October, I suppose. But I suppose what I wanted with those update videos is that I would really more intimately discuss all of the series that I was working on and how they were progressing. I'll try to do a little bit of that now. So, the priorities outside of Monster Hunter, and do you know what? I'll start with Monster Hunter related priorities because they do exist. There are Monster Hunter related priorities. Absolutely, the number one priority at the moment is Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. I don't know how easily I'm going to be able to record Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate once the servers are down. I should actually be able to get it set up just fine for Citra. I anticipate that, but I don't know what the player base is going to be like. I don't know if the difficulty of getting people to play with in that game, with that community, is going to severely hamper the frequency of my recording of that game. So, who knows? I suppose what I can say is that I'm already recording very infrequently when it comes to 3 Ultimate because there's almost no one to play with as it stands. But I think that's more to do with time zone issues rather than literally the player base. I think there are consistently 10 to 15 people every day who play that game. It's just I'm asleep when they're playing, which is annoying. Or I can't record when they're playing. So that has been the issue. There are... When you say backup servers for 3 Ultimate, I'm not sure what you mean. Do you mean, is there going to be a way for people to use the console, in other words the Wii U, to connect to new servers? I don't think so. Not as far as I'm aware. But there will be ways to play online. You will be able to emulate and play with other people in multiplayer. That will be possible. So I wouldn't quite describe it as backup servers, but there will still be an option to play online. So, yeah, I just don't know what that's going to look like. So, no matter what, I think I want to continue trying to experience that console experience of Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, where I have the Wii U gamepad and I can look at everyone's hunter ranks without needing to check them manually. That's just one example of why the Wii U gamepad is kind of nice to have. But also just using that Classic Controller Pro connected to my Nintendo Wii Remote. It's just, it feels like a connection with a time that once was. It's a pleasant opportunity to be able to do that still, and feel like I'm connecting with my old Tri-Play, like literally using the same Classic Controller Pro that I used when I first played Tri. And, yeah, I generally enjoy the experience, so I want to be able to do that as much as I can while it's still possible. And then the next priority after that would be Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, just because it is possible for me to record it semi-frequently now, because there are a decent number of people playing the game. It has become more reasonable, more possible than it was in the past to actually to play the game on mobile devices, which has actually opened up the community a little bit. Do I agree with the fact that people are playing on phones? I suppose it's not a matter of agreeing or disagreeing. I don't exactly endorse the use of a phone to play Monster Hunter, but the reality is that a lot of people who are playing the older Monster Hunter games are people who can't afford to buy video games. And people who can't afford to buy video games in this day and age tend to not have computers either, and they instead use a phone, because a phone can do so much these days that people just have a phone instead of a computer. It's kind of strange, it's a little bit of a culture shock, or rather it was a culture shock in the past to see that people live like this, but there you go. I mean, it's just how it is in much of the third world at the moment. Which is understandable, you know, you put all of your money down for one tech device to do everything, and that includes playing video games, so the fact that it is now more simpler process to play Citra on a mobile device than it was before, and I suppose that also relates to phones, relatively speaking, having better and better specs with each release, with each passing year. It's now just opened things up to what has become a large percentage of old Monster Hunter players. Like, that player base, a lot of it is just a free-to-play gaming player base. It's just what it is. I can't control that, but I'll tell you what, when those people aren't around, it's very hard to find people to play with, so I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to say the quality of Hunter has gone down as a result. You know, quantity over quality, that's not really what I've experienced. Sometimes you'll run into someone who's borderline retarded, but whatever. That's probably not to do with the fact that they're free-to-play gaming, it's probably more to do with the fact that I think old Monster Hunter has always attracted eccentric people, for better or for worse. So yeah, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate is definitely a priority. I was asked by Simply Roam if I'm still doing Hunting with Purpose. Hunting with Purpose is just for any game in Monster Hunter where I am focused on tasks. So Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, if I'm hunting with Ethan, I suppose the game where I'm most likely to do Hunting with Purpose at this point is going to be Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, because I still have a lot of things that I want to do in that game, because of how I played it in the past, where I chose to try and roll the dice effectively for guild weapons. I have a lot of weapons that I should have, but don't. You know, I don't have, just to pluck something out of thin air that may or may not be true, I don't have an ice gun lance. May be true, may not be true, but my point is, you know, I'm used to, at that hunter rank, having literally every element of every weapon type. But I don't, and the reason why is because I've been rolling the dice like an idiot trying to get a good guild weapon for all of those elements, for all of those weapon types. So, I'm not doing that anymore. If I get a decent guild weapon, I'll replace what I already have, but that's not how I want to build a character. I don't want to build a character by just leaving myself up to the roulette, effectively, to build my character. It's not practical, and I do not like the state of my character at the moment as a result of that. So, I suppose what I'm trying to say is that I am going to be task-focused going forward. It's not just going to be hunting with random people. It can be. There's no reason why I can't do that. It's probably going to be a mood-related thing. You know, would I rather do a Hunting with Purpose recording, or would I rather just hunt for fun and not worry about specific tasks? They are very different styles of playing, and they are entertaining in different ways. I think one of the main reasons why it would be entertaining to do Hunting with Purpose at this stage, particularly working on a character of my own rather than, say, Ethan's character, which will happen frequently as well, is because it's just not something that you guys are used to seeing. You're used to seeing a built-up character in Monster Hunter that I'm playing with, and I think what happens in turn is that there's not much connection between the viewer and my character. But if you're watching me build my character, you are going to be able to establish some kind of connection with my character. There will be a more intimate familiarity with the character because you're actually watching it progress, instead of it just being this abstract endgame hunter character that just seems to have everything that Doomlink wants to use at any given time. It's a good thing if you just want to see me hunt random stuff, and it's probably entertaining in its own way, but there is also some value in watching me build a character for sure. So I do like the idea of that offering some sort of variety to my Monster Hunter recording. I am also reminded of my old series. It's not that old. It's not old enough to call it an old series. I guess a series that I haven't returned to anytime recently, and that was Joke Weapon Roulette. It was a series that took some time to actually build up. That was a series, for those who are not familiar with it, where I literally would have joke weapons that I forged. Take some time to forge weapons. I think I had forged something like 30 joke weapons in Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. That was really the game where it was easiest to do that, because I would say, and this might be up for debate, that Generations Ultimate, and in addition to that, Generations, it's probably the easiest game to forge weapons in. They're very lenient with how they progress, like the required items for each level up. You don't see much repetition of that. Like if you needed to use 6 Cortexes for the previous upgrade, you're probably not going to need Cortexes for the one that comes after it. So there's a high chance that you're already going to have what you need. So like that as an example would be why that's probably the easiest game to forge weapons in. So that's why I chose that particular game to do joke weapon roulette in. And I suppose it's interesting. I don't mind the series, but I think it does... It's only a certain number of weapons. Eventually you've seen them all before, and it's not as fun once you've actually seen, let's say, 5 2-hour-long live streams of the same weapons over and over again. It's a novelty that wears off, I suppose is the best way to describe it. Well, that's funny. You happened to be watching it last night. I think probably the best way to do joke weapon roulette is, instead of having it be a separate series, just have it be something that I do every now and then while doing a live stream of Generations Ultimate. The problem is, though, because I haven't recently done a joke weapon roulette series, or a recording for that series, I have actually changed that armor set. Not the skills or the hunter arts or anything like that, but I've changed the transmog from that weird black gimp suit thing with a gargoyle head into a Link armor set. So, I don't know. Am I going to continue with Link? I guess so. I didn't create it into a Link armor set with the intention of using it with joke weapons. I just wanted to have a Link set. And that was the easiest set for me to change out of the ones that I already had. So that was the situation. So yeah, Monster Hunter, those are the 2 priority games at the moment, or the games that are of the highest priority for me to record. And then outside of that, I guess as long as it's not something that I've recorded twice in a row, as long as it's a different game, I'm happy to record anything. As long as I can easily get into a group and play with them consistently for 2 hours, or at least be able to go to another group, and as long as I haven't recorded a lot of it recently, I'm happy to do it. I want to do more Monster Hunter 1. That would be great. But again, same issue there as what I was having in the past with Monster Hunter 4. Or 4 Ultimate, that is to say. Just difficult to actually find people to play with. Like, the reason why I don't play first generation Monster Hunter more often on my channel is because I usually record multiplayer, and it's hard for me to actually coordinate a group for live streams. It's genuinely difficult. So, I mean, if I'm playing in my own time, not quite as difficult. But I find that when you're live streaming, there needs to be consistency. I can't just be sitting here for 30 minutes waiting to get a group together. It doesn't work. So, yeah. When am I playing Monster Hunter now? Well, I don't think that's a question that requires an answer from me. You will also notice that I've been doing Souls games on and off. The most recent one being Dark Souls 2. That will continue. I do enjoy recording Dark Souls 2. Every now and again, the game does make me want to pull my hair out because I don't like some of the game design decisions that have gone into it. But generally speaking, I enjoy recording it, and I intend to do more of that. The first Dark Souls, not a high priority, just because I've done a decent amount of it so far. Will do a little bit more of it though. Definitely not opposed to that. As well as that, you've got Demon Souls, which is technically a console game. Don't expect any console games anytime soon. But yeah, the reason why I stopped doing Demon Souls is because I've sort of burnt myself out on that. Like, I've really burnt myself out on that. I did, I believe, 4 or 5 Let's Play series of that game. I think technically 5, unless... No, I think just 4. I'm trying to remember if Let's Play number 2 was actually separate to my original, or was inclusive of that. It was probably inclusive of that, so therefore I did up to playthrough number 4, and for those playthroughs, at least 2 of them, I also did New Game Plus, so I played those characters a decent amount. And then in addition to that, I've done like 70 live streams of that game, so yeah, it's a lot of time spent playing Demon's Souls on this channel, and consequently, I'm a little bit burnt out on that game. When the time comes for me to return to that game, and I will feel as if I'm really ready to put time into it again, I am sure that I'll enjoy myself. But I do need to put it away for a period of time, otherwise I'm probably going to become permanently disenchanted with that game. Not because of anything wrong with it, but because you do eventually get to a point where you've played a game too much. It has to be understood that even if you look at the amount of time that I've spent playing Demon's Souls on this channel, and you are of the opinion that it could be more, or it's not that much, don't be turning it into a big deal, Doomlink. Well, that's just what I've recorded. The amount that I've actually played in my own time would be several times that amount. Several times that amount. So it's not just what I've recorded, it's also what I've actually done in my own time. Don't forget that. So, you know, one of my favorite video games, but I think for that reason, I also need to give it time to sit in the back of my mind, to let it become special again. That's important. I do have Zelda Let's Plays going on. I have the Minish Cap. I have not been adding to that Let's Play for a few reasons. I'd say the main one is that I am cognizant of the fact that I started a Let's Play in The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. That had to actually be put on hold because my save battery died on that cartridge. I was playing an actual original cartridge on a Super Nintendo, and the save battery died in the middle of the Let's Play. I didn't get very far. I think I was at the first dungeon of the Dark World, so not quite halfway through the game, or perhaps you could argue about halfway through. Getting close to that. Wasn't the end of the world, but it did put the brakes on for that Let's Play, and I haven't been able to return since. Long story, that is a long story. I've done a number of live stream playthroughs and Let's Plays of Twilight Princess. That's not going to be happening again. I do want to try and do Wind Waker again, because there is currently no surviving live stream series of Wind Waker on my channel. I genuinely don't recall why I didn't like my Japanese live stream playthrough of Wind Waker. I took it off my channel. I'm going to need to seriously rewatch it and evaluate whether or not I'm happy with it, because I think I am. Like, I've watched back a little bit of it, and there's some good stuff in there. There's a lot of fun. Like, I had a lot of fun in that live stream series, and it was really, I think it held up well. The only bad thing that happened, I think, was when I was many drinks in and ended up having, not really, I suppose, a disagreement with one of my viewers on beer, and he was so incensed that he never watched a live stream of mine ever again. I was just sort of drunkenly talking about how, some cultures develop a taste for shit beer, which was obviously interpreted to be a form of beer elitism that this person simply could not countenance. So, fine. And I suppose his retaliation served to be something of a distraction during that recording afterwards. But it is what it is. It's not too difficult to replace a battery of a Super Nintendo cartridge. It's about the same as a Game Boy Advance. When you say Game Boy batteries, I'm guessing you mean the original cartridges. Yeah. So, Game Boy and the early Game Boy Advance cartridges that still used save batteries, same thing. It's those 2032 round lithium batteries. As long as you've got the little housing that needs to be soldered onto the board, then you're good to go. And it's pretty easy to get those online. So literally all I need is a soldering kit and the battery. It's not difficult, I just haven't taken the time to buy those things. And I'm not even going to say it's been procrastination, it's more like a fleeting realization that I haven't yet done that, and then I literally forget. It's gone. I don't know, I have other things I'm worrying about, I guess. I remember so infrequently that it never actually becomes something that I force myself to do. And now I'm moving house, so it's not like I can do it anytime soon now. So the time will come that I actually get that happening. But the time is not now. It will be soon in the future, hopefully. But yeah, the Zelda live streams and Let's Plays do need to continue. I may put that Wind Waker live stream of the Japanese version back up on YouTube. Not that anyone's going to go back and watch it, but I at least want it to be there if it's good. And then, I don't know, I'll do another live stream of it. Not that anyone's asking for it, I know no one's asking for it, but yeah, don't expect Twilight Princess again for many years. At least 6. So I think that's what I said last time. I don't know if I finished my last one that I did this year, or maybe it was late last year. I don't remember anymore. But I'm pretty sure I said something like, yeah, I'm not going to play this game for at least another 6 years. And that's true. It feels like a bit of a waste to wait for as long as 6 years. But with the amount that I've played on this channel, I think 6 years is what I'm going to need to wait in order to be able to play that game again. And I love that game to bits. I am playing Castlevania. Quite a decent amount of Castlevania. I'm pleased to say that I did finish my Symphony of the Night livestream playthrough, which I wasn't entirely sure if it was going to happen in reasonable time. I'd say that, relatively speaking, it did happen in reasonable time. I put my foot down and said, no, I'm going to get this done, and I got it done, and now I'm able to move on to another game. I'm currently working on Circle of the Moon. I've done a few recordings. I seem to remember that my last one was not that productive. Maybe it was, but yeah. Oh, that's what it was. I had a very unproductive recording of Lament of Innocence. So, in tandem with what I suppose you could call traditional Castlevania, maybe some people would take issue with referring to Metroidvania as traditional Castlevania, but I use that terminology in the context of the fact that 3D Castlevania exists. So, I'm also doing 3D Castlevania in addition to that. I've already done Castlevania, so it's Legacy of Darkness. I always have to make sure that I don't say Curse of Darkness by accident. So I've already done Legacy of Darkness. I may at some point do Castlevania 64, but I'm not in a rush to do that. And the reason why is because I've already done Legacy of Darkness, a very similar game to Castlevania 64. And then obviously after Legacy of Darkness I moved on to Lament of Innocence. I would say that Lament of Innocence is probably a better game, but it's not gripping me enough for me to record a lot of it, to be honest. I've pretty much reached the point where I'm a little confused as to how to progress. I remember my last recording of Lament of Innocence was very unproductive. I think it was literally the first time I'd recorded it in maybe 8 months at that time, and I just wandered around trying to figure out how to progress, and I don't think I did in the end. So I perhaps it entertained some people, but it was not a good recording when you consider that I barely achieved anything. So that's a shame. As for the future of 3D Castlevania recordings, I do intend to do Curse of Darkness after Lament of Innocence. But I don't actually want to do any of the PlayStation 3, like the more modern 3D Castlevania games. I don't have any immediate intentions to do... When I say immediate, I suppose it's hard to say that when I realise that I wouldn't be playing it anytime recently anyway, just based on the idea that I would do Lament of Innocence first and then Curse of Darkness. But Castlevania Judgment I don't think I'll do that game. I might. It might depend on how it plays. If it utilizes motion controls a lot, I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry, like, I've already got, well, there's another game, Skyward Sword, which I'm apparently doing on and off. I thought I'd cancelled it, and then I did a one-off fucking recording some time ago, and I suppose that's how it's going to continue. I'm just going to occasionally do one-off recordings for Skyward Sword with no real, like, I'm not going to commit myself to anything. I'm just going to do a recording when I feel like it, and it's going to be almost a throwaway, carefree sort of recording, which is probably the only way that I can actually enjoy that fucking game. So, yeah, Skyward Sword links into this discussion because I know Skyward Sword uses a lot of motion controls. I don't know how much motion controls are actually in use when playing Judgment, but, yeah, seriously. Now, Simply Rome asks about Mario Kart. That is a series. That's definitely a series that I do. The only reason why I turned it into a series is because I was enjoying playing it in my own time. And things that I enjoy playing in my own time, simultaneously, I will enjoy sharing that with you guys. I haven't done Mario Kart recently. I think I've done maybe 6 live streams, 7 perhaps. I do have issues with Mario Kart live streams. I think the first problem is that they look like actual garbled shit. The bitrate of my live streams, which by the way is as high as it possibly can be, let me stress that, is not enough to be able to record a game that moves at that speed at 1080p and have it look in any way acceptable. It just looks like a complete dog's dinner. That's what it looks like. And it bothers me to watch back. Like, my face is just this. It could be anything. I look like a Picasso painting. It's ridiculous that in this day and age, recording at literally the highest video bitrate that Twitch will allow, it can still look that shit. Now, mind you, it does become worse with YouTube compression on top of it. But I hasten to add that it still looks shit on Twitch, okay? So, I do have a sense of standard, and I do have to ignore it. Like, every time I've never uploaded Mario Kart, and I've never gone live in Mario Kart without being aware that it looks like shit in accordance with my standards. So, I've had to just ignore it. But it does bother me quite a lot. It's neither me nor Mario Kart. We can blame Mario Kart, but it's just about the speed of the game. It's the amount that's on the screen, and then not on the screen, and then on the screen. It's the movement. There is a lot of movement in that game. And I'm assuming all racing games are like that, up to a point when live streaming. It's video bitrate. It's busy. There's a lot to render. So, or a lot to encode, whatever you want to say. So, that's quite difficult for the modern internet, for some reason. But, weirdly, YouTube is more capable of dealing with it than Twitch, because YouTube actually does, I apologize if I get the terminology wrong, but YouTube does all of the rendering on servers, and then delivers the result to the viewer. Let me stress that this relates to live streaming on YouTube and not uploading to YouTube. If you're uploading to YouTube, it's going to look like shit because of YouTube compression. But if you feed, let's say 20k bitrate to YouTube servers, it's going to give a pretty good looking live stream. But, that's a lot, keeping in mind that 8k, or is it 7k? I think 7k is the limit, roughly speaking, with Twitch. But you see, with Twitch, it's designed to make it so that the viewer has to actually download all of what I upload. All of what I encode is then being downloaded by the viewer in real time. So unless the viewer has good internet, they're not going to be able to watch properly. So that's the difference. It's a nightmare. Videos like Mario Kart gaming is not appropriate for live streaming, not appropriate for video content creation, at least by my standards. So there you go. Will there be more Mario Kart in the future? Yes. It's not really a high priority right now, because I don't really feel like doing it. But yeah, once I have that Mario Kart itch returning, I will go and do it. I'll go and play that. I'm sure there's other games that I'm recording. What else is there? Let's jog my memory, shall we? Playlists. I will look at my playlists and be reminded of the things that I haven't recently uploaded to. I'm glad that I got Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 completed when I did it. That's not something I was expecting to complete so quickly. I guess because it was such a ridiculous game, it served to entertain the people who watched it, so I was able to get through it pretty quickly. Got through it in 5 live streams. 3.5 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours and 18 minutes, 2.5 hours, and then an hour and 54 minutes. So those were the live streams. Got through the game, a single playthrough anyway, in that time, and I felt like I was playing pretty badly, so it didn't take me too long. I do have Kingdoms of Amalur. I don't mind playing that. I suppose it's low priority in a way, but I don't want to forget about it. It is important that I continue adding to that, because it looks like people who watch my live streams are actually willing to watch me play that game. I think it's because it's similar and it's part of the same sort of genre as Monster Hunter and Souls. It's an RPG, and some people for some reason have fond memories of it, so yeah, it's eye-catching. When people see that I'm playing Kingdoms of Amalur, people want to watch it, they want to see what's going on. The most recent VOD that I have there has 105 views. Sounds pretty pathetic, but my viewership is pathetic. By my standards, that's actually pretty decent, especially for something that's not Monster Hunter. So that's encouraging enough for me to continue that series. I guess I just haven't recently thought about it. The last recording that I did for it was 9 months ago. It does not feel like 9 months ago, but I have to say the last 6 months of this year have just disappeared for me. Just the last 6 months in particular, it has gone by extremely quickly. So, literally, where has the time gone? I do not know. Just the last 6 months. It's like it got sucked into a fucking vacuum or something. So yeah, 9 months ago, doesn't feel like it whatsoever. But there you are. What else have we got? That's probably it, to be honest. Yeah, looks like that's about it. Oh, that's not it. Zelda Phantom Hourglass. Good God. I started that Let's Play in 2019 for my 10th anniversary of Let's Playing. Fuck me. I like the title of part 2. It's called Stealing from Old Men. Paints a nice picture. I just like the setup of it. It's all very old school in style. Not the setup so much, I guess the naming of the episodes, or the parts. It's nice. Starting with part 16, I turned it into a live Let's Play because I knew that I just wasn't going to be able to get through the series unless I recorded live. Recording live was just so much more fun. So, yeah. Streamed 4 years ago. Fucking hell. There you go. The most recent one was done 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Honestly, that's ridiculous. I guess I just forgot about it. I had no business, now that I think about it, starting the Minish Cap when I had yet to finish Phantom Hourglass. I have every intention of starting Spirit Tracks when I finish Phantom Hourglass. Genuinely, forgot about it. It's good to double check these things, isn't it? For some reason, I've got my Let's Play for Final Fantasy XIII marked as on hold. I don't know why I've done that. That was a Let's Play that I started in 2016. I remember that I picked up a viewer who genuinely liked the game. And instead of just being repelled by the fact that I clearly didn't like the game, and clearly was not enjoying it in any way, he was getting really... It's not like he was getting heated or frustrated. He was taking everything way too seriously. Like, when I would struggle with the game because I was just basically playing it as casually as could be, and, you know, not reading all of the tutorial text because I'm not enjoying the game, he's taking it very seriously. He's trying to almost mentor me on how to play the game. And look, at that point, I was just like, look, mate, I don't like this game, I don't care enough about it to play well, and the way you're attempting to mentor me and taking it this seriously is off-putting. So I just put the Let's Play on hold, and quite frankly, I have no intention to return to it. It's Final Fantasy XIII. Honestly, why on earth would I bother? Especially at this point. Inconceivable. Alright. So that's really all I have to say about my Let's Plays, which are at this stage just live Let's Plays. That is what they are, because I'm not going to be doing non-live anything anymore. It's not even just that I need to have an audience to talk to. I don't need to have an audience to talk to. I enjoy it, and I like it when you guys chat to me while I'm recording. Occasionally it can disrupt my flow or my train of thought, and then I have to, you know, talk about whatever you're talking about just because that is now front and center in my mind because I've read what you've said. That can occasionally manifest itself as it's like a detracting factor when it comes to my commentary at times, but it's not a bad thing really in the end. But I guess my point is that it's not so much the experience of going live that keeps me coming back as much as I do enjoy it. It's the convenience of it. It's the convenience of just going live, and then that's it. I've got my recordings, no editing involved. In addition to that, there's more reach. There's more people watching live streams than things that are non-live. You know, there are some people who will not watch my VODs. They will only watch me live, because apparently, unless it's happening right there, right now, it's not worth watching. That's fine. Everyone can consume my content in whichever way they see fit. Anyway, I think that will probably conclude this live stream. The major announcement was that I'm moving, and that I won't be able to record for a short time. Shouldn't be too long though. I'd say a maximum of 2 weeks where I can't record. That's just going to be time that I'll need to set things up and get my internet working and things like that. Shouldn't have a huge impact on your ability to watch my stuff. I will make it very clear when you are watching the first live stream of mine in my new apartment. So, I'm looking forward to that. Thank you for joining me for this fucking, what is effectively a botched update video. It's a still image instead of me actually playing the game. I haven't actually been playing it, and the reason why is because if I'm sitting here playing the game, and you're just looking at a still image, that's just going to frustrate and tantalize you. You're going to wish that you were able to see what was going on, and instead, you wouldn't be able to. So anyway, I will still be recording. I'll probably do a recording, not tomorrow, but the day after. And then maybe one more after that. We will see. Probably one more after that. I will try to do 1 or 2 more after that, because I want to reduce that window of time where I haven't actually recorded anything. And the best way to do that is to ensure that I have pretty much recorded something right up until the last day that I can do so. And that's important. I will see you all when I'm next recording, and thank you for joining me for the update video. Bye bye for now.